It's Nikki. So I know I'm not sticking to the schedule. I'm not gonna keep going on an apology tour about it. Let's face it, I'm moving. I have other crap that is going on. But I have been delaying this video a little bit because I feel like I have gotten nothing accomplished. But that's not true because I have a lap full of stuff that I have accomplished. I don't know if we can call it that. Just wait and see. Okay, so let's get going. If you hear crinkling noises, because the cat is chewing on a plastic bag right now. I don't know. Maybe she'll come and say hi. Probably not. Okay, so let's start out with the top that I'm wearing right now, which is Butterick 6388 right here. Did it focus? I hope it did. Okay, so originally I wanted to make this dress version, and I did, out of this. And then, as it turns out, so this is a French terry. I think it's 100% cotton, so it doesn't really have much give to it. Not nearly as much give as I expected it to have in the hip, which is usually where all the trouble is. So basically I made the dress, tried it on, and it was a bit much. I'm okay with tight, but this was beyond an acceptable amount of tight. So I just lopped it off into a top. No big deal. I didn't put the pockets in. It didn't seem like a good idea at the time, and then I had someone inform me that they did the pockets and they were just too bulky in it, especially if you make it out of the same stuff. I imagine if you put like a silky type something in there, it would be fine, but I don't necessarily, I mean, I carry a purse, so I don't really need the pockets, but pockets are nice. I love to have them, but they're not a necessity in a dress for me. So yeah, so I left the pockets off. What else did I change other than the length? That's it. That is it. And I did not grade out. I just cut a medium all the way through, and that is the biggest size that's in this packet. So medium is as big as I got. And so I will make this again for sure. I will attempt to make the dress again, and I'll just do a pivot and slide hip adjustment on it, so, which is no big deal. Yeah, although I think in a stretchier fabric it wouldn't be such a big deal, but yeah, I'm very happy with it, and it is super warm. So not only the fabric is warm, but this collar, this like crossover, not a turtleneck, but kind of acts like one type of collar, shawl collar, I guess, is it's nice. So I will insert a video of me wearing it here. And we're moving on. Okay. Next, I decided to make this McCall 7813 skirt right here. And I made view D, which is this one. Okay. And this skirt is, it's easy. There's not a whole lot going on here. Basically, once you get it cut, what size did I do? I think I did a 18 in the waist and a 20 in the hip. So, I mean, it turned out nice. I made it out of this pink and black, what is this, a plaid suiting, stretch suiting. Right here. Oh, okay. So, of course, I'm going to pull it funny. So it's got a slightly asymmetrical top. That wasn't an accident. It was on purpose, I promise. And it called for, I think, 1 or 2 snaps. I put 4 in because there's no way. Because that's it. That's all that holds this thing together. And I didn't follow any placement instructions for where I wanted them to go. And I tried my snap setting tool instead of sewing the snaps on, because I hate sewing snaps. I always end up sewing the one side on backwards. At least if I have 4 snaps, I probably would have sewed about 2 of them on backwards. I hate snaps. So yeah, it's basically just like a facing here, and I just serged it to finish it, and it's that simple. It's just a wrap skirt, right? So now here's the thing. It turned out fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't know how I feel about it. I'll insert a video right here. So, yeah, I don't know that it's the most flattering skirt for me. I think I might have a little too much hip, like it's just, like it's not sitting on me the way it's sitting on the model on the envelope, which I do realize that I am not the same size or shape as the gal on the envelope. But I think that for my level of curve that I have, I just don't think this suits me, because what ends up happening is it ends up like a tablecloth once it hits the booty area and the hip area. So instead of having like a nice graceful flow down, it kind of like hangs off. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, I don't know if it's the best look for me, but you know what? There's been times where I've, had an article of clothing where I was like, good God, what was I thinking? But then I wear it out a few times and then I'm like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I don't know why I felt so weird about it. So I'm going to still give it a try. And who knows, maybe it'll turn out. And in the video you saw, I hoped you paid attention to the top I was wearing. If not, you can go back and look. But that was the next thing. Well, it wasn't the next thing in chronological order, but it's the next thing I'm going to show you right here. That was this bodysuit. Now, this thing gave me some struggle, shall we say. So here it is, bodysuit. And it's a floppy collar. Okay. So just plain black bodysuit. The pattern I used for that was Simplicity 8513, and I did View D, which is the turtleneck. Right here. So, what happened? What went wrong? Basically, I cut it out, and I briefly glanced at the instructions and then decided I knew what I was doing and just started going to town, right? Well, I had sewn the turtleneck portion wrong. Basically, I sewed it like, how do I explain this? Like you would sew this collar stand or a collar on something. So I just sewed it around the edge because that's what the picture that I briefly looked at said to do. Except it didn't. It just looked, that's what the picture looked like. That's not what it said to do. So that happened. And I did it in the serger. So I was like, well, that is ruined.
And so I thought, okay, well, let me just cut out another collar piece and I'll go back and read more carefully what I'm supposed to do. And then I didn't have, pardon me, I didn't have any more of the same fabric, which was a scrap from Fabric Mart. Like, it was in one of those mystery bundles. So I had very little of it. And I think it's a wool jersey. It has that kind of a little rougher texture to it, and it's got a little bit more body. All I had was some rayon jersey that was black, and that's why the rest of this top, I think the collar would have been fine in that, but in this flimsy rayon jersey, you saw it in the video, it's kind of like saggy. It's very sad. Sad collar. So there is that. So this is definitely not perfect, but that's not even where my tale of woe ends. So I cut out the next collar and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get this thing ready to go. And then I sewed up the center back seam and then looked at the instructions and I was like, God, there's supposed to be a zipper there, what the hell? And then I was like, it's bodysuit, Nikki, of course you need another way to get into it. And I was like, shh, dang, that's not gonna work. So then I was like, okay, what do I do? Maybe I can, and then I thought, oh, hang on, my battery's gonna die. Let me rectify that. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so where were we? So I just realized I made another error by sewing the back seam shut entirely. And then I was like, okay, well, I figure out what I'm gonna do about that. Let me just do the instructions for the collar. And it tells you to baste like you're basically folding it in half and then you're basting around it. So I thought, well, let me just baste this thing real quick. And instead of doing it by hand, like I vowed to do more often, I was like, let me just zip this through my machine real quick. And the whole thing just, you know, when you baste things, it sometimes, if it's really thin fabric, will bunch itself up. Well, this was beyond, this was in like a ball of, and I was like, it's okay, it's okay. I can just flatten it out later and then, no. And at that point, I just picked up the whole thing and chucked it in the trash can. And I was like, you know what? Let me just move on. Now, this was Thanksgiving weekend when I had planned to do all sorts of very successful things during Thanksgiving, you know, weekend and be, you know, sewing up all this stuff up in here. All of this stuff getting sewn on Thanksgiving weekend. But that's not really how it ended up. It was just, it was a day of hangover, and then after that, it was one disaster after the next. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let me switch course. Let me try sewing up a jacket. So I went after view A on Butterick 6255 right here. And I thought, it's simple. It shouldn't be too hard. And then I was looking at the line drawings and I was like, but there's princess seams in here and there's a set-in sleeve and it's not as simple as it looks from the front, because all in the front you see is this drape, right? And it's a woven, so I thought, well, let me not be an idiot, right? Because all the fabrics I had picked out to maybe use for this one were good ones, like higher, more expensive ones, things I was more attached to. So I thought, well, I better make a muslin out of it, at least make sure the fit is decent. So I did. And that is, it looks crazy, right? Ignore the fabric. I had scraps. So here it is. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. So part of the reason why it sucks is I could not for the life of me figure out how to attach. There's like a pivot point. I got one side right and I got one side wrong. But basically, if you look at the pattern picture or their line drawings for view A, right, let's see. there's this little collar right here on top. And that is where I was having a struggle. So there's two reasons I'm glad I made a muslin of this. One is to check the fit. I'm glad I did that. It's so hot in here right now. This shirt is very warm. And it is, okay, anyways, no one cares about my temperature. So there's this collar in the back. And I was like, how in the hell does this thing go on? So one side I sewed on wrong and was just really confused. And then the other side I did okay, and I didn't cut out all the pieces, so it's just, you're just either wrong. But essentially, this front waterfall piece ends up getting sewn all the way around to the back, right? So it connects at the shoulder and then extends around to the back, and that's what like pulls it into the waterfall shape. And it makes sense once I see it happening. But man, that pivot point was brutal. So I am glad I tested it out before I did it in my real fabric, because the picture on the cover of the pattern is deceiving at how simple it looks. So this one, I do like the pattern, but not only am I having some fit trouble, but that is really, really way more than my brain wants to deal with right now. So I will come back to that later. So we'll say this wasn't a complete waste of time, but I certainly wouldn't call it successful at anything other than alerting me to potential struggle ahead. So I will save that for a time when I have less going on in my life, where I can really sit down and work through it and maybe do a couple of practice runs at that point in the back that I struggled with. So for now, I'm not mad at it. I was at the time. At the time, right, coming off that bodysuit nightmare, I was ready for a win, and then I didn't get one. I just got a little bit more disappointment. So right, so like my weekend, my Thanksgiving sewing extravaganza that I had planned was just slowly like circling the drain at that point. So I was like, okay. Let's get it back. We can get it back. And then I was sitting there, and I must have sat there for an hour and just staring, just thinking, well, what can I do that won't be a disaster? You know? And then I kept looking at the bodysuit in the trash can, and I was just like, and I got to thinking about it, and I was like, what's the main problem? I can cut out another collar. I had plenty of that other fabric. I was like, I didn't have enough of the original, but I had plenty of the replacement collar stuff. I was like, I can cut out another collar. It's not a big, and do it my own way. I don't need to baste it. That seems unnecessary anyways. And I thought, yeah, but I sewed up the center back seam with the serger, and I don't want to, like, now I don't have enough fabric, and I was like, it's a freaking stretchy turtleneck. I don't need a zipper in it. I can just, it undoes in the bottom, like there's snaps at the crotch, so I should be able to slide it over my head. The opening would be at the hip, which is pretty wide on me. So I thought, you know what, let me dig this out of the trash can and give it another go. And I did. And it is not great. It's not my best work, for sure. But it's not my worst either. So what I ended up doing, I did make a couple of changes, and there are a couple more changes I would make. So I'm not going to show you me in the entire length of the bodysuit, because seriously, nobody wants to see that. So I use the snap tool again. I don't think I mentioned that I hate it. You know, I just do. I don't like, maybe I just hate snaps. Maybe that's it. I just hate snaps. It's just such a pain. Snaps in general are a pain. But anyway, so it's fine. Now what I didn't do was put any elastic in the bottom of this. So I thought to myself, well, this isn't going to unravel, so it doesn't need a finish on the edge, although I did serge along the edge. And if I put the elastic in, then I'm going to have a big bump. And I thought this way I wouldn't have as much of a panty line if that's what I was concerned about. So I decided to just leave it unelastic at the bottom and put the snaps on and just go for it and see how it works out that way. And I may never do a version with elastic in the leg. So yeah, there's not, black turtleneck, and like you saw in the video, there's nothing, like, it looks fine. I would make it a little, maybe 1 inch longer in the torso. Not that it's going up my butt. It's not doing that. It's just, it's difficult to get it pulled enough to snap, which you think would make it so that it would go up my butt and give me a permanent wedgie. It somehow doesn't, but it still needs to be longer. It's that magic crotch. I'm telling you. Anyway, so I have a crappy bodysuit that, but it was a rescue, you know, rescues aren't perfect. So, yeah, the collar is floppy. It's not a bad pattern. I will make it again. I will just, now I know what I'm getting into. And now I know that if I want to not have a floppy collar, you either need to use something stiffer or I need to interface it. So this was more of a lessons learned kind of thing. So there you have it. And then another thing, this I actually made before I made anything else, but the thing is it's not quite finished yet. So this is McCall 7194, view A, right here. Okay. That's this. And it's great. And I'm not going to show you a clip of me wearing it just yet. It looks fine. It looks great. You know what? Yeah, no, not yet. I'll wear it in my next video probably. Because I haven't hemmed it yet. I haven't hemmed the sleeves or the hem. So I just I haven't I haven't wanted to change from the serger to the cover stitch just yet. So basically, as soon as I change it over to cover stitch, because I have a couple other projects that are going to require cover stitch, I kind of like to do it all at once. Then as soon as I do that, then I'll just hem it real quick. So it's no big deal. That's the only reason why I haven't done it yet, is because I haven't felt like just converting it, because I had so many things I wanted to serge going on. So yeah, so for the most part though, it's done. I tried it on. It looks fantastic. So basically my only like true win here, aside from this one, which wasn't technically a true, so my only true win is this shirt. Guys, oh my God. Yeah, it's just, things just didn't go great for me. At least not as great as I had hoped. But then I thought, well, let's start the week out right and let's get some things cut out. Now this isn't finished yet, but I can show you my it's almost finished. And it's inside out. So let me turn it to the right side. Now this is a Berta skirt. And it's Berta 6, oh my God, hang on, back. Berta 6835. And I did view B, the shorter one. Now, I'm actually going, even though it's not quite done yet, it's really close. It's a matter of hemming the lining and attaching it to a few parts, but I probably will actually throw this one on and show you. I will put, in fact, I'll put a video of it in here, right here. Okay, so this one went pretty well. I took my time. So there is my invisible zipper, which is, for the most part, invisible. Hey! And then here is the front with the big zipper. So right there, and it unzips from the bottom up, And it is a separating zipper, but the end of it's hidden up in here. And it's more for decoration. That's not how you get in and out of it. That's what the invisible zipper is for, as I'm sure you surmised. Okay, so basically this is some cotton corduroy. I had a great time working with this. You could finger press it. It's nice, which saved me from some, you know, iron marks. So I used this poly satin lining that I got from Vogue Fabrics in the at the sewing expo that I went to. I showed you guys that a few videos back, and I'm turning it back inside out because that's where all the fun stuff is. So all I have left to do on it really is I need to attach the lining here to where the exposed zipper in the front is. I just need to attach it down each side of that. I probably could have done it by machine, but this ended up working out really well, so I thought maybe, you know, I could put a little extra effort in. I also need to hand sew it at the invisible zipper, and then I hand stitched I did a blind hem that I hand stitched. Of course I'm showing you the part that looks like crap. So you can see my little catch stitches there, but not really on the other side. So I was happy with how that came out, and I need to hem the lining, and I think the pattern calls for leaving the lining free floating in there. Now I haven't decided whether I'm gonna do that or not. I probably will because it'll be easier. And I haven't decided whether I'm gonna hand hem the lining or whether I'm going to do like a rolled hem on the serger or not. So I will think about that, but yeah, so this one I'm actually pretty happy with. Although I think I could probably take it in the waist a little bit, for sure. And it's definitely fits better with the zipper unzipped a little bit. But, you know, I'm actually very satisfied with this. There's no pockets, which is, like I said, that's fine. So yeah, that is kind of how my sewing has been going lately, and that was what I made for the month of November, and it was a struggle to even get that done. So yeah. Okay, yeah, I know you're probably all at home thinking, Nikki, give yourself a break. You're in the middle of moving your entire house. But just know this, like, I really haven't done much about that either. So I don't know what my problem is. Yeah. It'll get better, guys. It'll get better. I promise. Oh boy. Okay, so let's think about what's coming up. Oh, I do feel the need to defend myself though by saying I have 2 secret projects that I'm working on. Right, and I had to make muslins for those this month, and I did that, but I can't show them to you because secret, you know. So, but you'll see them soon, mid-December, I think. So I did work on those things, and those things actually came out great. Of course, the thing I can't show you was great. Whatever. Okay, so next up for me, my dad's shirt fit. When he opened the box, I promised I would tell you guys what happened when he opened the box. So he called me. I told him to expect a package. He called me and he was like, "Hey, if I send you this shirt back, can you put the other sleeve on it?" And the flower one. And I was like, Dad, that. So even though I meant to prank him with it, he pranked me by liking it. Except that it's not a prank, he really does like it, and he really does want the other sleeve put on it. And I was like, oh my God. All right, Dad, all right. So, yeah, so he sent it back. So now not only do I have to put the other sleeve on and finish it off properly, but now I have to make him another one. And he did ask me to lengthen a couple of things, but he still likes that shirt as is. But he said it would be nice. He was almost hesitant to ask me to change anything, but I was like, Dad, you need a little bit more length. So, yeah, so coming up in December, I need to make him 2 shirts. Apparently, well, I need to finish one shirt, make the other one. The knit shirt that I sent him,
I forgot that it was a 3/4 length sleeve, so when he had it on and the sleeves were up to, my dad's got really long arms, the sleeve was up to like here, and he was like, I'm not into it, and I was, it's fine, it's fine. So we'll just stick with the button down for right now, because that actually did work out a lot better. So I need to make him those shirts. I need to finish my secret projects so that you can see them. And then really, I think any plans after that would be a silly mistake on my part. I think I should plan for nothing other than those very few things. That way I won't feel so bad at failure, which is inevitable. Now, I haven't bought any more fabric in a while, so I'd say that's an accomplishment. But I'm getting an itchy trigger finger for fabric, so we'll see how that goes. Oh, it's December 1st. That means the Fabric Mart stuff, the Julie's Picks, is up for me to peruse. Uh-oh. Okay, so maybe I will buy some fabric. Maybe I'll buy some fabric after I finish this video. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for not lighting me up for making you wait. I appreciate that. Who knows where time has been going? I don't know. I can't find it. So I'm going to keep pressing on. And don't worry. I mean, I'm not broken over my multitude of failures. I'll keep going. I learned some stuff. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. All right. Bye.